Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor. If this is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for being here. Please do not forget to click on the subscribe button, turn your notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified whenever we post another tutorial. So before we head to this tutorial today, I really want to apologize for taking this long for posting tutorial. I've been a little bit under the weather. So for today, this tutorial was inspired by a pink red dress I saw, and we're going to be recreating this. So if this is something that interests you, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be making use of this crepe you're seeing. This is a 3 yards of crepe, okay, and we're going to be adding this Treemies. This is called the Treemies. I got a pack of this. I really do not know how many yards it is, but this costs about 500 naira or thereabouts, okay. And for today, we're going to be using net. Now if you saw the dress we're trying to recreate, it was an ostrich feathers that were used, but because I don't have money to buy that, we're going to be making use of this net, okay. So to the tutorial proper, let me illustrate. We're going to be folding. This is how we're going to be folding our flay. This is the angle flay we're going to be folding. This is how we're going to be folding it, okay. Now we're going to go ahead now and fold our fabric in that angle flay that I demonstrated with that paper. Now I demonstrated that because the camera was not able to capture the full length of the whole dress, okay. So after arranging this properly, now you can see me arranging it. We're going to go ahead now and get the length of those there, but before that, we're going to go ahead now and get our shoulder divided by 2, okay. Now we're going to get our shoulder. After folding, you make sure you get exactly your shoulder divided by 2 or more than. Now the shoulder I'm working with is 9 inches. You can see I've marked that 9 inches there. Now from there, I'm going to go ahead now and get a line from the beginning of the angle flay. That is 16 inches. I'm going to mark. After marking this, now we'll go ahead and connect this the way you're seeing me do, like so. Please go ahead and connect yours like so. All right, so after that, we're going to get our neck width. The neck width I'm going to be working with is 3 inches. All right, then from there where we marked our 9, I'm going to come down by a shoulder slope. I'm going to mark there. Then we'll go ahead and connect from the shoulder slope to the neckline where we marked first, okay. So after that, now we'll go ahead now guys and get the neck depth. Now this is not going to be the neck depth, just for us to have a basic bodice. That is why I'm cutting this, and I used 2 inches for the neck depth for now, okay. So after this, now we'll go ahead and cut this out so that we can go straight to the cutting proper. You can see where I cut. I did not cut from the shoulder slope. Now to get our armhole depth, I'm going to be dividing my round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inch allowance, okay. So whatever you get, you mark yours. Now after marking this, you can see we'll go ahead and adjust this. After marking that, now guys, we'll go ahead and divide our armhole by 2. You can see the way I'm doing it like so. Go ahead and divide by 2 and mark. Now after marking this, we'll go ahead and connect it with our ruler, okay. I hope you can see this chalk very well, because this crepe is really difficult to work with. All right, so from there where we divided, we'll go in by half an inch. We'll go in by half an inch, and I will use our curve rule to connect this like so. Remember, we have not gotten our round bust measurement. We're just connecting this to give it an armhole curve. All right, so from there, I'm going to come down by 10 inches from our shoulder. I'm going to come down by 10 inches. That's my breast point. Now it's only the breast point that is the only body measurement we're going to be using for this. Now my breast point, my round bust divided by 4 will give me 9 inches. That is 36 inches divided by 4. After that, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 inch allowance, because I really want this flay to come out full. If you look at the clothes, you will know that is a very full flay. So we'll go ahead now and extend that our armhole measurement. We'll extend it like so. You can see the way I'm extending it. So guys, after extending it, now I'm going to go ahead now. We'll go ahead now and get the full length for this dress. Now the full length we'll be working with is 37 inches. Now I'm going to mark 37 inches. You see where I'm placing my tape from this shoulder down to the full length you want your own to be. I'm going to be working with 37 inches. Now that 37 inches I'm marking is both my seaming allowance, the shoulder joining and everything, and the hemming is inclusive. So at the end of the day, after removing and adding all the seaming allowance and folding, I'll be the accurate measurement I would want this gown to finally be is 34 inches. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead now and cut this all around after marking our full length. Okay, so after marking our full length, we'll go ahead and cut. So guys, after cutting the front piece, we're going to go ahead and pin. You can see how silky this material is. Now you see where I'm placing my tape from our shoulder. We're going to go ahead now to see if we have the length we'll be working with. Now for my shoulder, you can see this is 37 inches. That means I added extra 3-inch allowance to this flay because I'm going to be folding. There's going to be a lot of folding for this dress. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead now and take this outside, and we're going to go ahead and cut the back part. Now for this back part, I'm not going to be adding any zipper allowance. This is because I want to add a button at the neckline for easy wearing. Okay, so after this, now we're going to go ahead and place after folding this angle flay, we're going to go ahead and place the front that we've cut out and to trace it out like so. Remember, we're not adding any zipper allowance to this dress because we're going to be using a button at the back. Okay, so after arranging this properly, now we'll go ahead and cut this out the way you see me cut like so. I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out. If you notice, I just went ahead to just give it a half an inch trim for the neck at the back. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut this now. This is me adding 4-inch opening at the back, just a tear at the back. This is for the button I'm going to be creating for the ease allowance. You can see this is 4 inches. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and keep this aside, guys. This is what it looks like. You can see how the opening is. We're going to go ahead now and keep this aside. Now I will bring the front pattern. The first one we'll cut. This is the front pattern. Now if you look at the dress, there's a bit of opening at the front. Now I didn't want my client was specific. She didn't want her sleeves to show, so I went ahead to just use 7 inches for the for the opening at the front. Okay, so depending on how you want your sleeve to show, you can go ahead and do as much as you want it to be open. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead now and trim this out. Now after trim this out, we're going to go ahead now and remove all the pins around the distance. So guys, from there now, the next thing we're going to do is to cut a bias that we're going to be using to turn the neck. Now this is 1 inch. You can see me marking the 1 inch for the bias neckline that we're going to be using. So we're going to cut this out. Now I did measure the round circumference of the front and the back neckline, okay, but I would advise you get the round circumference of your own fabric before cutting the bias so that you won't have a lot of joining. Now I have that because of the pieces I am working with. Okay, so guys, we'll go ahead now and pick the bias. This is 1 inch, and we're going to place it front side facing front, and we'll go ahead and pin it down. So you see where I'm pinning it down is where we're going to sew, is where we're going to be sewing on. Now if you know how to turn a bias neckline, this is going to be very easy. It's just really easy to achieve. So we're going to do this now for the round neckline of the front, and we also do the same thing for the back. Now this is how you're going to be sewing in. You fold it in like so and so. So we're going to sew, like I said, we're going to sew this around the neckline like so for only the front and the back, just the neckline. After that, now we'll go ahead and pick our net. You can see this is me arranging the net. Now if you saw the clothes we're trying to recreate, it's an ostrich feather that they're using doing that. Now because a yard of an ostrich feather costs about 3.5. Now do you see how full the flay is? It's going to be costing me like about 5 yards of the ostrich feathers, which I cannot afford, so I settled for this net. This is a bell net. I got 2 yards of this net. This is 2 yards. Now we're going to go ahead and mark 10 inches. You see the way I folded it into 2. This is by 60. I just folded it in order for us to be able to cut it. Now after folding it, after marking this 10 inch, now this 10 inch is not the final result of what we're going to be using. After cutting this 10 inch, we're still going to go ahead and divide the 10 inch into 2. So what we're going to be having is 5 inch of net. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut now, and this gave me about 7 or 10 pieces after cutting it together. Okay, so you can see I also went ahead to divide the 10 inch into 2, and we're left with 5 inches. Now you can see this is the 5 inches, this is 5 inches. Now for us to join these pieces together, we're going to join all the pieces next that will cut together. Now we're going to pick one of the pieces, we're going to pick 2 pieces rather, and join it together. Join the mouth together like this. You see the way I'm placing it, the front side facing front. We're going to go ahead and place it together like so, and we're going to sew. But before that, I'm just going to go ahead now and pin it for us to know where we're supposed to sew. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and pin. You see the 2 edges I joined together, we're going to go ahead and sew it like so. After pinning it, this is where we're going to pin. After pinning it here, we're going to sew it. You can see we sewed here. Now when you sew here, you make sure that you turn it the proper way, and then you will join this same thing. Now you do the same thing for all of these nets. You see the way I did it, we'll do the same thing for all of this net like so. So after joining it, now we're going to go ahead and do gathers. We're going to do gathers for this. Now we take this net from the middle, we get the middle of the net, and then run a gather stitch across the middle down to the full length. So I'll take this to the sewing machine and bring it back. So guys, this is the gathers I'm talking about. After doing the gathers, you see how full and the length after joining it. So we'll now have 1 full gathers that we're going to use for the down of the flame. So guys, you can see the middle. This is what it looks like. You can see how I did it. You see, it's at the middle that I stitched You can see the way it looks like. Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead now and keep this aside, and we'll pick our front neckline. Now you see, this is the place we'll pin. After pinning the neckline, before I will sew, I will go ahead and join the shoulders together. I will join the shoulders together, and then I'll bring it back for us to see what it looks like. So guys, I've gone ahead now to pin to turn the neckline with bias, and also went ahead to stitch the neckline. Now I only did a folding at the neckline and then run a bias neck because of the design, the applique that we're going to be using at the front, the trimmings that we bought that we're going to use to design it. I also went ahead to hem the down part around those fabric. Okay, you can see the way it is. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like rather. Okay, and then this is the back where we're going to be putting our button. Now guys, we're going to go ahead now and pick our trimmings and place it like so. Now make sure it is at the middle, make sure it's covering the stitches that we did, that is the turning we did for the neckline. Make sure this trimmings is on top of it, directly on top of it. You can see what I'm doing. Just go ahead and do yours like this, and you're going to get it accurately like so. Now we're going to do it all the way around this neck. We're going to do the same thing for the neck. I will also extend it to the shoulder. Now when you get to the neckline, you cut it out. Now the essence of cutting this out is that when you start from the shoulder, is you hold the 2 pieces together and join it together. Don't worry, when we finish you will understand what I'm saying, and we'll also need to do this, but we'll take this to the sewing machine and bring it back. So guys, this is what I'm trying to explain. This is what it looks like after attaching the trimmings, or you can also call this applique. Okay, now I went ahead to attach the front first, and then I cut it out, and I held the 2 fronts, the tip of the fronts together, and then I added from the other shoulder across the other shoulder. That is why you see it's pinned together as if it's stitched together there. So after that, now we're going to flip this over. We're going to turn this over and pick the armhole, the other armhole, and then we're going to now go ahead and hem this by 1 inch. Now remember, I told you that I want this to be really to have a lot of allowances on it. So we're going to go ahead now and pin this together. You see where I'm pinning is where we're going to be seaming around. We're going to go ahead and close it all around with 1 inch. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and this is what you're expected to see after stitching it around. You can see what it looks like. Now after that, now guys, we're going to go ahead and pick the net, the gathered net that we already printed on, and we're going to sew it round the flame out. We're going to sew this around the flame out. Now please, you have to sew this, you have to close all the side seam before you sew this. You can see there's an opening at this point. This is because I only use pin to hold this down. Okay, so I will go over to the sewing machine now and close the seam allowance, and then use this to round the flay all around. Okay, I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to do this net, I'm going to run it twice on this, and I'll bring it back for us to see what it looks like. Okay, you can see, and if you're sewing, please sew at the middle where you already did your gathers. So guys, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this looks like. Okay, you see how beautiful it looks like. And we also have we also had excess of the trimmings, that is the applique, and that is going to be serving as a belt in case if my client wants to have a belt around it. This is going to also serve as a belt, and you see how it looks like. Now I doubled the net. You can see how full it is because I doubled it around. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This is what the aftermath. I also went ahead to run it with the armhole all around the neckline, both the front and the back neckline. Okay, so thank you so much guys. Don't forget to subscribe, hit on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to be notified when I post a new video, and also like and comment so that this video can go viral. Thank you so much for watching guys. I really love the outcome of this dress. This is what it looks like and it's beautiful. So thank you so much for watching. See you guys on my next video. Bye for now.